Recently, the fourth milestone teaser for Die of Death was released, where Saucefy answered 15 different questions about the game. They're all basic questions about the game, but the second question was very interesting. What happened to the rare NPCs that spawned in a round? Why were they removed in the QOD update? In which Saucefy replied saying that they were removed from a bug, but will come back with more secret NPCs, otherwise known as talkers. Already, a lot of you probably don't even know what these are, which is why I'm making a video on it. Because it seems that these weren't just random secrets meant to be scrapped, but rather that some of these weird NPCs have a deeper meaning than any of us would have thought. One thing you need to know before I cover these is that before they were removed, these talkers have a 1 in 5,000 chance of spawning, so consider yourself lucky if you've seen one of these before. There are only 3 talkers, Dialoguing Man, Slate Pal, and Cedine, all having unique encounters. The first one I will cover is Dialoguing Man because he is by far the most obscure talkers out of all, being able to speak to the player. He talks about all the 5 killers, Pursuer, Badware, Killdroid, Artful, and Harkin. But he also mentions someone not related to any of the killers at all, a guy named Rue who owns a museum. I'll play all the audios that he says, starting with Badware.
Badware is a type of software that has been deceptively installed in the user's computer, such as spyware and adware. It is not designed to deliberately destroy data or compromise the system, as is a virus or Trojan. Badware fundamentally disregards a user's choice about how his or her computer or network connection will be used. While malware is an umbrella term that covers a variety of malicious codes, including viruses, Trojan horses, ransomware, and backdoors, badware is not necessarily software created to destroy systems.
What Dialoguing Man says is really interesting here, because I'm pretty sure we all had the idea that badware was some sort of virus meant to destroy computers, but apparently he works a whole different way, overriding user function when connected to their network, but not destroying it, which would explain how in lore Badware hacks all of his skins to make them kill survivors. Not to mix this up with wiperware, as wiperware is not hacked by Badware and is not badware. He instead is Badware's #1 employee that really likes to erase user data, making him unique from the rest. Now let's move on to Artful.
The term artful refers to someone who is clever and skillful, often in a way that is not always transparent. It can imply a sense of craftiness, particularly in achieving goals or manipulating situations. Additionally, artful can describe something that is performed with art or skill, showcasing a creative approach to aesthetics or expression.
This one doesn't sound like too much, but I find this one actually pretty interesting. Artful isn't given his name randomly. It fits his description of who he is as a magician, and even when he becomes a murderer, as stated, often in a way that is not always transparent. And it can imply a sense of craftiness, particularly in achieving goals or manipulating situations, which I think heavily refers to him going insane when his shows go wrong, making him this murderer who kills to avoid the law. Nothing else too deep about Artful, but it's very interesting that their names aren't random. They have meanings, deep meanings. Moving on to Pursuer, there isn't anything too crazy that he says, but take a listen.
Pursuer is the fastest killer currently in the game, which gives him a good advantage to outrun the survivors he pursues. Pursuer is a brute chaser killer type. Because of his fast speed, he can use cleave to get a slight speed boost and a sweet 30 AoE damage. He can use stalk if he lost track of survivors or not found any survivors in sight, or to ambush them in LMS. He can use howl if he's low on stamina and want to regen while not having the survivors make further distance.
Nothing too much here. It only covers Pursuer's moveset and even gives a few tips, which is kinda odd considering how he was dropping some interesting lore on the other 2 killers and just, well, states the obvious. But this isn't the case for Harkin, and I personally think this one is a lot to take it, to listen carefully.
The term Harkin means to listen. lend the ear, attend or give heed to what is uttered. It can also mean to give attention to what is said or to listen closely. In a figurative sense, it can refer to returning to a past subject or evoking memories of a previous time.
You most likely already know about this, but what's strange about this is how dialoguing man says it can refer to returning to a past subject or evoking memories of a previous time. I'm not too big on Harkin's lore, so I can't really give a good explanation on what this could mean, so me and a lot of other people would appreciate if you could comment on what this could mean. Now, giving my best theory here, this is probably just referring to Harkin switching targets, as it says, returning to a past subject, which is why she evokes memories of a previous time. But there's a lot I don't know, and it's most likely more obscure than you would think. The last killer is Killdroid. I've talked enough, so just take a listen to it.
Killdroid is a ranged killer, meaning its main attack is to launch projectiles instead of attacking with melee attacks unlike other killers. Killdroid's playstyle is as a shooter area denial.
Yay, same as Pursuer, Die-allowing man doesn't mention any lore or weird facts about them, rather just their playstyle. But there is this one story, not similar than the others. It's the longest story and the most strangest one out of them all. So listen closely.
Rue is a museum owner that desperately wanted people to visit it. So he found out a way to make portals to different dimensions. However, the portals were all dangerous and unsafe for people to go through, so the museum got shut down until further notice. Rue went insane due to him dedicating his life to those portals, just for his museum to get shut down. One of these portals was one of his first. It was a forest in the sky and no sign of life below. People can already exist in these dimensions, but they might look different compared to the ones in the original dimension. Rue never intended for different species or people to be in these portals, but he saw it as a marketing stunt. When his museum closed, he created more portals instead of stopping and found more entities for his desire. Rue's everlasting greed in these people never stopped, and he thought he would be the most successful person in the world by the time he showed this to the public. None of these people knew about the portals, and Rue was plotting to make a person go missing in his museum so it'll gain attention and more fame. His insanity grew every second, and his portals started to get more distorted. Different entities were forming out of these portals, and they were all hostile in different ways. Rue was scared to enter these portals, but still kept them up anyways because it'll be better for the crowds. All Rue wanted was attention and fame in his museum, and he never got what he wanted. So he went for cruel and twisted methods to do so, which were the portals. Although his museum did close, he'll always find a way to get people to look at him again. All of these portals Rue makes get more twisted as it goes on. His tree portal was milder than what his gas portal was. The gas portal had more dark elements to it compared to the tree portal. Every portal Rue makes is more disturbing than the last, and it looks like he won't stop anytime soon.
The origins of this story come from one of Sakuify's games called Rue Museum, which is no longer playable now for some unknown reason, but there are a few references from here that will help make some sense. As the game has two endings, one about a tree portal and one about a gas portal. Barely anyone has gotten these badges, and there are no videos of anyone recording these endings, making them only more mysterious. But I'll make a quick theory here. As Dialoguing Man talks about Rue, he mentions a lot about unstable portals, similar to the one in the lobby, where the builder tools say it's unsafe to go through them, just as the story says. I don't want to jump to conclusions too fast, but could the killers from Die of Death originate all because of Rue? After all, Harkin was captured from a portal, so could it have been from one of Rue's portals? We know where Badware, Killdroid, and Artful originate from, but we barely know anything about Harkin and Pursuer. All we know is that Harkin was captured from another dimension, and that Pursuer is some sort of apex predator, although no one knows where it comes from. I'm not an expert at the Die of Death lore, so I'm gonna stop there, but I encourage you guys to try and find out more of this on your own. Maybe there's something we're missing from this. Moving on to less insane and obscure talkers, the second talker is Slate Pal. Now, I've encountered Slate Pal twice before, so you could call me the luckiest person alive, but there's not much to him, other than him just throwing rocks. The rocks have no collision, so he isn't there to make the match harder. He just sits there the entire match throwing rocks, and from my personal experience with him, there's nothing special other than him just existing there. We don't know much about him other than he really likes to throw rocks, I guess. Moving on to the third and last talker, Cedine. You might feel uncomfortable just by looking at it. Cedine makes weird sounds which, warning, might make you feel discomfort, and twitches its head violently, doing nothing at all for the match other than just sit there and make you feel at ease. I'll play the sounds it makes, which are pretty weird. Although we don't know a lot about these talkers, we do have some confirmed lore for them. Dialoguing Man is the official news person. Always live at scene. He has never gotten into any accidents during a live recording, as killers just ignore him as if he never existed. The reason for this is unknown. Dialoguing Man is very wise, and he's very knowledgeable about almost everything, but doesn't really laugh a lot at humor. He knows the future inventions that the civilians will make, but he can't intervene, so he works as a news reporter telling civilians things they don't know about the killers that won't cause major issues like killer sightings. Lastly, Cedine and Slate Pal are friends with Dialoguing Man, as he can speak both of their languages, which is pretty interesting how he can communicate with us and the other talkers. That's pretty much all for the video and these obscure talkers. Sacuify said they will be returning this update with more friends as well, so it's probably for the best that I cover these guys first before the others release, just so you guys are aware of these. Thanks for watching, and let me know if there's any more weird stuff that I should cover.